We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Sunday, and we have the good fortune of having Will with us today. And Will's the kind of guy that gets fired up, but he knows a lot of stuff, bit of a nerd. So it's always entertaining. The people always love it when Will's on the show. So I'm glad you're here. I got a bit of a cold, so uh, you get to carry most of the weight, but
Oh, lovely.
I'll step in from time to time.
Yeah.
We were talking about some things before we got on the show, and um, I'm trying to think of which one of them that is the most abhorrent. But there's so many things. Let's just talk about the one thing. I haven't really done a TikTok on it, but it was about this car explosion in front of a
hmm
fertility clinic in Palm Springs. Now I've been to Palm Springs, so nice place. I wouldn't expect something like this happening there, but it did, and they're telling us now that it was definitely a terrorist action.
It was a car bomb, and I've seen the pictures. It blew that front of that building totally out. They said
Yeah.
they were broke, and the reports now is there were broken windows, like a couple miles away. I'm sorry, there were broken windows up and down the block. People felt the explosion miles away. And the thing about it is, we're not talking in the old days an abortion or Planned Parenthood clinic, or they would
Right.
call abortion clinic. We're talking about an IVF clinic to help
Wow.
women get children. So why, who, and I'm sorry. I mean, we're not to do speculation, but I'm not a attorney. I don't give a fuck. It's going to be some kind of MAGA Christian fundamentalist idiot who was upset because they're doing something unnatural to bring children and not following the will of God. Whatever, something like that. You know it.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know it.
every time there's one of these things that happen, an assassination attempt against Donald Trump or whatever, it always ends up being a radical Trumplafuck type that does it.
hmm
And nobody's going to do this other than some of these crazed evangelicals. And the fact that it was IVF and not an abortion situation is very telling.
Yeah.
Do you think they catch the person who did this? I mean, so we do find out who's behind it.
Well, there's only one problem with that. Since it's a bombing, it's a federal thing.
Oh
They
yeah,
they got the FBI and the ATF involved, and you know who's in charge of the FBI. Is there someone in charge of the ATF? I don't know. So I keep seeing clowns in a clown car showing up with FBI jackets. I'm sorry. My faith in the federal law enforcement system is fucked, mostly because of who's in charge and what they're actually concentrating on. That is a real crime. I will guarantee it. If they find out it's a MAGA, they will start brushing this under the table. They
yeah.
will brush it under the table.
They'll somehow try to blame Hunter Biden for this one again. I'm sure that's about the speed.
Yeah,
You're talking about
you're
the
good.
DOJ and stuff. I'm curious. I was looking at some videos. I saw a video on TikTok where these two Gravy SEAL type guys claim to be with the Border Service. They have these fake patches on. They're out of shape, overweight, and they're standing there. And this Hispanic guy comes up and says, "Take your fucking mask off, you pussy," and start really railing into them. And they just take off in their personal cars. Um, it's one thing if ICE does some things illegal, if they're employees of the government or of ICE.
Mhm.
Um, but there's got to be some pushback because there's a lot of people out there picking people up that don't work for the government, that aren't part of ICE, that are just jumping on board like vigilantes because Donald Trump allows them to do it. These people are not only committing crimes against the Constitution, they're fucking committing kidnapping, and they should be exposed and prosecuted as such.
The problem is that they've hired a lot of these, they deputize a lot of these white supremacist groups, these
Yeah,
militias. I
yeah.
mean, I saw, I think we talked about it before. Well, I don't know. Might talked about it live. I don't remember. I saw a picture of literally an ICE agent team. There's a truck. They had gear on. They had this guy who might have been 5'7", wearing unfitting ice gear. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Like he might have gotten off Amazon and got the
right
size too big.
too big, and then he's wearing jeans. I'm going, and he's got a mask on. I'm going, that's not a person who's been through any kind of academy. That's one of the militia they hired. So you're right. There's a lot of fakes. But unfortunately, I don't know. We don't know because they hired a lot of these guys.
You
They
think
have
you're going
hired
to?
a lot of them.
I've been seeing videos though with a lot of pushback when these alleged ICE people come up. You think it's ever going to get to a point where we see some violence? You know, somebody who's clearly
Yes,
not part of ICE and is just playing this fucking game to appeal to Donald Trump or whatever, or its own racist needs. Eventually, people are going to push back on these fuckers, and there's going to be a fight. And you know what? These guys don't look particularly tough.
no. But the thing about it is they're choosing soft hits, soft
Yeah,
targets. You've noticed they have not really got. If you're so hardcore, roll into roll into East LA, roll into
yeah,
parts of Chicago. Really roll in and see what happens. They don't want to do it because they know
no,
what's going to happen. And that's the thing. They're picking. You saw what happened in Worcester. I mean, it was a woman, a 6-year-old girl that they attacked, and the whole neighborhood went after them. And they had to call in the police, who suddenly found a way to help ICE. And then the mayor and the police chief go, no, we didn't know. Yeah, fuck you. I saw what you did. You put a 16-year-old girl on the ground with your knee in her back.
right.
I mean, so the thing about ICE is that it's always late at night, soft targets, not really going doing what they want, and they're literally disappearing people. I keep hearing stories of people disappearing, and this is some serious Pinochet shit. Um, it, and we sit here and go, I, I love Sea Temptation, but dear, the courts aren't going to fucking save us. The courts aren't going to save us. They're not going. Supreme Court had a ruling here that you still can't do Aliens Act, and they're threatening the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
They're not going to listen. There is nothing that is beyond them, and that's the problem. The Department of Justice now is what James Comey has become a target for one Instagram post. These,
yeah,
and I saw your video on that. Yeah, they're PABs.
yeah. They're pussy ass
MAGA's
bitches.
PABs. They don't. Their
Let me
life
let,
is all. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
let me just set this up. James Comey, the former FBI director, Donald Trump doesn't like him. He posted a picture on Instagram. He's at a beach or something, and in seashells, it says 8647. Now, I understand what that means. And of course,
Mhm.
all the victim Republicans are saying, oh, he's calling for the murder of Donald Trump. He's calling for the assassination of Donald Trump. Well, I don't claim to be the smartest man in the world, but I know what the term 86 means. And I
Yep.
know it
So do
from
I.
firsthand experience. Whenever I heard the term 86, that means you're too drunk, too stupid, too crazy, you get kicked out of a bar. And I've been kicked out of a bar too, meaning I've been 86. To act like this is some victimization, it's ridiculous. Besides, I saw somebody else on TikTok show different Instagram from back when Biden was
I
president,
know.
and they were saying 8646. So fuck you, you pussy ass bitches.
It's just I saw that and and then Christy Nolan was asked about it and she's all got her serious face on, like they're going to prosecute him, and I'm going, do you guys really know what crime is? This is all. This is all
Apparently not.
Trump's. Trump is. This is a weak man, but he has power. And the problem with weak people that have power is that they go out of the way to attack people who make them nervous. And they're going after, I mean, people, Secret Service agents, people are coming getting visits from them because they went through their post. All right.
Right.
I mean, I might get a visit. You might get a visit. We don't know.
I hope they
But I'm going
come.
to,
I hope they come and try to cuff an old white guy sitting in his living room. Fucking come, because
yeah,
my platform, your platform will explode
yeah,
if you fucking do that, and
yeah.
then I'll have more power.
And the thing too is like, we, we're talking about disappearing. Now, the big thing right now, just, well, we're going to cross a couple things, but one thing we're talking about that I just laughed. Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Okay, quick story, guys. If you didn't see my video, I'll tell you. I saw the last Born in the USA tour concert in Los Angeles. I saw the last one in the Coliseum, and that was 3 hours of oh my god.
Yeah.
I was younger there, obviously. Stood on. No one sat except for intermission. You stood up, and in order to see better, because people were standing, you stood on your freaking chair for
Yeah.
3 hours, and it was incredible. It was amazing. And the funny thing about it is, Springsteen made a comment about question the government, because if you don't question the government, it might get you killed. He said that back in the 80s, the early 80s. Okay. You
Yeah.
fast forward to hearing what he said at the UK. Of course, he said that. And he said it succinctly. He said it with points. And the best thing he said at the end, though, is that he said, but Americans are good people and we will get beyond this. He was just telling the UK, hey, I know we're not the government. I
Right.
heard him, and he went after Trump hard in his way. And what's the motherfucker do? Bruce Springsteen is overrated. Motherfucker, really? I had all his albums. I can do his music on the top of my head right now. And all of these, they don't know what a patriot is. To me, Bruce Springsteen is Arlo Guthrie. He's been everywhere, and
Yeah.
he comes from the bottom up. And if you listen to his lyrics, and the reason it appeals to me, to you, is that we're working stiffs. And
Yeah.
we know that. And if you listen to The River, that doesn't make you cry. You're an asshole. And two, if you listen to the words of Born in the USA, that is not a go gun hole like Lee Greenwood that he always puts out.
No.
No,
No.
that is a literal indictment of what happens to vets that come here and people are just trying to make a living. It's just put to a different tune, and people, those of us understand it. That's why when Trump tried to use it in his rallies in 16, he no, welcome to my lawyer, stop.
Yeah.
He stopped that shit immediately.
Well, the
So,
interesting thing is that year when he had that tour, I was at the concert in Minneapolis,
oh,
and
cool.
what was different about the concert in Minneapolis was that's where they filmed him pulling Courtney Cox out of the crowd and dancing on the
Yeah,
stage. That's what was in the video. That was in Minneapolis, and we
right,
watched that. We didn't know who Courtney Cox was at the time, but
right.
there's a great story in our town, Minneapolis. There was a department store called Dayton's. It was
Hmm.
basically the predecessor to Target. Dayton's created Target. Um, but Dayton's was a place where you bought all your clothes, all your furniture, all this stuff, and you could buy tickets for concert because we didn't have Ticketmaster then, for fuck's
Hmm.
sake. So you go stand in line to get these tickets. Now, I just gotten married and my wife loved Bruce Springsteen. So I decided to stand in line.
Hmm.
And I stood in line for about 3 hours to get these tickets. But my wife wants them, I'm going to get them. And I did. But the funniest thing about it is this is a department store. They have credit cards and all that stuff. So there's an older lady standing in front of me. We're in line for 3 fucking hours. Lady gets up to the teller and says, "Yeah, I just want to pay my credit card bill." And the
Oh,
woman goes,
geez,
"Oh
poor
my
lady,
God, that's that line
poor
over
lady.
there." And this
Oh
poor
my
lady.
God, poor
But
lady.
that was a great concert.
Oh
I wasn't
God,
as big a
yes.
fan of Bruce Springsteen as my wife was, but how do you not love the guy? Well, what Donald Trump then says, he's
Mm.
overrated. He looks like he's a prune.
Oh my
Uh, his
God.
his skin is
Oh my God.
atrophied. How dare Donald Trump talk about somebody else's
He
skin, that
works out.
orange corpulent motherfucker?
He
Oh,
works
he's
out.
in shape.
There's a great documentary on Disney Plus of him on his last concert. It's the first concert they had after Clarence Clemens died. So he
Right.
talks about that, but they show his routine. Dude works out.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
works out.
He's older than me.
All right, but he has to work out because he still does 3 hour concerts.
Yeah.
Um, and it's amazing. For Trump, but Trump went after him, that whole prune thing, and he says he's not going to say it in the U.S. Oh, dude, he will say it in the United States. And
I
go ahead.
what I think they should do after he talked about Bruce, he thought he'd bring up Taylor Swift too. He says, I don't know if
Jesus.
you noticed since I said what I said about Taylor Swift, she's not as so hot anymore. Yeah, she's not on a tour right now. I suggested this. I suggest on June 14th, Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen hold a free concert on the Washington D.C. Mall during the fucking parade. Let's see who shows up where.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, and I watch, I'm going, there's petty. Okay, I could be petty. You can be petty.
Yeah.
But that's different than
But
being
it's
a
cute when
whiner.
we do it. It's
Yeah.
cute when we do it.
Well, petty because we know we're right. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. We're petty because we know we're right. But that was whiny. That was
Yeah.
fucking little bitch. I'm a little kid whining bullshit. And let me make this clear. He's going to have to come back to the United States. If they fuck with Bruce Springsteen at the coming in, dude, you have no idea what you're going to release. I remember when they tried to go after Dolly Parton, that didn't work well.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And then to top it all off today at Cannes, you know who Pedro Pascal is. Everyone knows
Yeah.
who Pedro Pascal is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Doesn't. And so let's back up on Pedro Pascal, the actor. We've seen everything. I mean, I don't have to go through it. If you don't, you know. If you know, you know. But what I didn't know is that his parents were immigrants from Chile during the Pinochet years.
Oh, wow.
They escaped Pinochet, got asylum in Denmark, and then emigrated to the United States, and where he became an actor and all that. And he was talking about, I know what this is. I have seen it. And you know what's emotional? Because when he was talking about it, he was shaking. And he said, this is what's going on. I don't agree because I've seen it before. We escaped it because we were lucky. I do not know what my family would be to my family if we had not gotten asylum in Denmark. But someone asked him the question. The question was, are you afraid of what you just said? And he looked at it. He told a reporter, are you scared about what you said? He goes, fuck the people who make you scared. Fuck the people who make you scared. And that's true. Because that's the thing. If you see everything that's coming up, the 8647, they're supposedly going after legislatures, going after judges, words that the military is being co-opted. All that is designed to make you scared so you don't say anything.
Right.
And the thing about it is, he's right. Fuck the people who make you scared, because they are scared of you.
They really
They're
are.
scared of everyone that speak out. That's why they're spending money chasing this shit down.
And, you know what I think is going to happen here too. When you get somebody of the level of Bruce Springsteen or maybe Taylor Swift or Pedro Pascal, this is going to start an avalanche of people because nobody wants to be the first one or the second one. But once it starts coming, it's going to come in an avalanche, and it's going to be something Donald Trump is going to freak the fuck out.
Well, and part of it too is that a lot of the celebrities like George Clooney and that, turned on Joe Biden. I want to talk about Biden in a couple minutes. I don't trust a lot of Hollywood guys because I think one person made a good comment about the Democratic Party, and I think that's part of the problem and the opposition. The Democrats aren't sitting in an opposition party because they are also on the upper echelon, the leadership is also
elite.
Yeah, is also trying to cater to the rich too. They don't want to lose the rich donors. They want the rich donors. And so they don't want to get to alienate them because they figure the party won't have money and they'll run to Republicans. So it's stupid. That's why you have people like Gavin Newsom two-facing it every time he speaks. That's why I've seen some creators here on TikTok talking, well, we need to hear the other side. Fuck the other side. Fuck the other side. The other side is evil and has no empathy. Fuck them. If you try to think that they care about you, screw it. It's simple as that.
We've seen the other side. We've experienced it for 4 years, the first term, 4 months this term, and all the time in between. It's like when people say, well, why can't you just compromise or negotiate or work together with these people? You've got one side that's absolutely wrong and one side that's right. There is no in between. There is no compromise.
There is no message. And now I'm hearing a lot of the progressives are coming out of their little holes trying to make. There's someone blaming Kamala Harris for this and still blaming Joe Biden. You know
Yeah.
what? Fuck you. And I think there's a creator that is real big that she did a piece on that. That if these leftists are coming out, just don't feed the animals, because the
Right.
problem with them is what Reverend Al Sharpton called they're latte liberals. They have money. They
Yeah.
don't give a fuck about us. Now they're coming out because it might affect them, but they want to get a piece of the action because they see the Democrats might make a move, but they still won't commit,
Right.
and they will hang us all out to dry. So if you're a far leftist progressive, you're not. You're no different than MAGA because you
Right.
don't see it. It's really simple for everyone. We have to sit in opposition to everything Trump does. There is no
Everything.
reconciliation. There is no way to compromise because you can't compromise on it. Look what happened with this budget bill. Okay, the budget bill failed in committee not because Republicans were afraid of cutting Medicaid. It failed because those 5 members want to eliminate
Yeah.
Medicaid.
That's what I
They
found
want.
weird is that they didn't vote against it because of cutting Medicaid. They voted against it because they wanted deeper cuts.
Yeah,
That's
they want
frightening.
more.
That's frightening to imagine.
And a lot of people are saying, why are they doing that? That's a third rail. Is it because they already figure out they're going to win the midterms? I don't want to go there. I really
Yeah.
find it hard to believe that they're going to say, a lot of people say, well, they just suppressed the vote, Starlink, blah, blah, blah. I
Yeah.
don't think we've gotten that far. I don't think so. Um, and if they did do that, then it's on. But I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to happen. I think that they're that stupid. I think they think they have a mandate to eliminate everything, to break government, so they can say government is broken. Well, what happened? Well, it's not a big deal. They could waste. Yeah, tell those people who are dead in Kentucky and Missouri tonight because Doge and Donald Trump cut the National Weather Service and NOAA to the point they had no overnight forecaster to watch the screens and couldn't give a warning till it was too late, and damage, huge tornadoes. And there's no FEMA, right? Because they fired the FEMA chairman. Really? So tell me how government is broken or was broken before for doing its job. Tell me
So
how this is going to fucking work, guys. It's
so
not.
you got Kentucky, a red state. Um, 25 people dead because of the
Mm-hmm.
tornadoes. People's lives torn apart. Those people did survive, are devastated. They're going to go to the federal government like Huckabee Sanders did in Arkansas. They're going to say there's no room at the end. We're not helping you. We're putting it on the state. Well, the only place probably more broke than Kentucky is Arkansas. So there is no
Yeah,
money to do anything. So these people are just going to have to suffer. They're going to
yeah.
have to try to build back their lives from nothing.
It's the we don't have a pot to piss in alliance of states,
Right.
and they won't even be that nice. This is what they're going to do.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
it. That's it. It's not even going to be a discussion. It's just going to be, we don't know you. We don't know you. That's the thing. The federal government, which everyone, I did a bit about tariffs because I was kept thinking about it. Because the excuse that MAGA does for tariffs is that it's going to bring back manufacturing.
Right.
You and I grew up at the back end of manufacturing still being strong, getting
Right.
a job at a plant, getting a job. My dad worked for Lockheed
Yeah.
as a metal worker, defense contractors, but getting a job in a manufacturing plant, literally families worked. It was what it was because we produced. The companies put money back into the companies, but it started to change when where the rich really decided we don't want to share anymore, and the
Right.
first thing they turned on was the unions, and they convinced the common folk that unions are evil. that companies will take care of you. You don't need a union to speak on your behalf. Unions started to break, started to fall down. Then you bring in Ronald Reagan, who ran on that government is bad. Government is bad. He did this in California. Thank God he left, but he went to the White House and did that. And then they concentrated on social programs that Johnson put in with the welfare mom trope, the
Yeah.
racist tropes. Although the majority of people on government assistance are white, if you don't like that fact, fuck you, go look it up. It's the truth. And they made those people demonize them so they can cut the programs little by little. Now, every time they got in there and they went hog wild, everything fell apart and Democrats would get elected and have to fix it. But then Republicans playing the long game when Reagan started to rip out the roots of manufacturing. Why? Because those companies didn't want to pay wages to Americans and pulled out and no one stopped them.
Right.
No one said no, and they did it. And how did they sell it to us? They sold it to us as, no, don't worry, you'll be part of the service industry. That's better. Information highway bullshit.
Right.
No, it wasn't, because it didn't have the benefits, the pensions, and all things that our fathers grew up with,
Right.
that I got for working on a plant. And so they ripped it up by the roots. And every time, once in a while, when the Democrats start or try to put it in again, they ripped it out again because they kept conning people with lies about culture wars. And then it was about Obama. They kept gaslighting them, and people don't understand policy. And that's when Democrats did talk about policy. Look, and that's the thing. They talked about policy. We talked about, hey, everything's working well, but they couldn't do it because they bought the con, because it's easy to get easy answers to understand that things are step by step in one's life.
Right.
And
You
so
brought
they
up
go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
you brought up the tariffs, and that brings us to him saying that prices are going to come down, manufacturing is going to come back, none of which has happened. Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump has an approval rating for economics for his economic plans of like 20%, 30%, something like that. It's not going well, and people in the United States know better. But he got slapped in the face the other day when Walmart came out and said, look, we've got to raise prices because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Donald Trump did not like that. He basically told them, you should eat the tariffs. If you don't, we'll keep an eye on you, and so will the people of this country. That was a threat. But here's my question. You told us with tariffs it would bring prices down. Why does Walmart have to eat anything?
And the thing about it, and the worst thing about this, we all know that he capitulated.
Yeah.
And when that came out, people were going, well, what tariffs? I thought he dropped the tariffs. No, assholes. There's still a 30% tariff on products coming back to China, coming in from China. And a
Which is
10% the
higher than
Chinese
it was.
was before. And the Chinese did 10. The Chinese are waiting. They're playing a long game. Trump didn't win shit. He
No.
just got a pause on it. He didn't win anything. And the worst thing about it is, like, I made that comment. I go, there's still tariffs. Someone said, no, what tariffs? I made an answer to it. I think it was a YouTube video. And some guy goes, yeah, well, I don't buy stuff at Walmart. What do you buy that cheap shit? Fuck you. Sometimes Walmart is the only store in areas because they forced out little stores and providers.
Right.
Now they're there. Now people don't have a choice. And really, Donnie, are you going to tell Walmart that?
Yeah.
The Walton, the family, what's the name of the family? Is it
Walton.
Walton? That's when
Yeah.
Walton can buy you and sell you 20 times over. Fuck.
Right.
Taylor Swift can buy you 18 times over. So go fuck yourself. And the
Yeah.
point is, he's doing that because he knows his lie's been exposed, but people don't buy it because anything he says is gold.
Well, I get a
It's
kick
all
out of
good.
I get a kick out of watching Trumplefucks on TikTok and such, and they seem relieved that Donald Trump pulled back or paused on those tariffs, but he still has a tariff on there. They
Mm-hmm.
think that they're safe now. They think that Donald Trump can pull back at the last minute and save us all. We're still hanging by a thread here. I don't know that Chinese ships have started back up again. I haven't heard that. There have been at least a couple of weeks where there's no ships coming in. There's going to come a moment in time when there are empty shelves. And when there are empty
Right.
shelves, if you can find it, it'll be higher priced. No question about it. We haven't even realized the damage that has been done already. And when it hits, Donald Trump's trying to soft soap it. I pulled him back and as if we're okay now. We're not okay now. It's going to get
Oh,
bad for a while.
well, I mean, we were okay before. You
Yeah,
just created a problem that you solved, supposedly. I mean,
we didn't solve it.
that's the authoritarian playbook. I create a problem, then later I come up with some whacked out solution to a problem I created, although the problem's still there. That's 1984 shit. That's 1984. We're lowering the chocolate ration. And 2 weeks later, by the way, Big Brother's raising the chocolate ration back to where he
Right.
lowered it. So, and people buy this. See, there's nothing to fix, which brings us to the mass media motherfucking bullshit of going after Joe Biden after he's out of office with that book from Jake Tapper. First of all, if you're talking to Jake Tapper about Joe Biden's cognitive dissonance, cognitive problems during the last year of his presidency, then you're a traitor to this country. Go fuck
Yeah.
yourself. Okay. And other people are saying, I never saw that. Where did you find these guys? Jake, where did you
Yeah.
find them? And
I
they spent 2 days talking about that. 2 fucking days talking about Biden's lack of cognitive function. Meanwhile, that man that's in the White House has no cognitive function. He's a
right.
fucking madman.
Well,
I
I used
mean,
to like Jake Tapper when CNN seemed to be normal. But I lost a lot of respect for him when he did that interview with Joe Biden with somebody
oh
else.
my
He did,
God, it was ridiculous.
he just catered to him. And what I said about that book, the book talks about all the problems that Joe Biden may have had and how he wasn't aware all the time. My answer to that is so the fuck what? So what? That's over. That's gone. He's not the president
Mm,
anymore. I don't care what happened. All I know is what he did. And for the first couple of years when he could, he did a lot of good, a lot more than Donald Trump ever did. I don't care if he was losing his mind or
okay.
whatever. I still think he shouldn't have run the second term anyway. If he would have done that, we would have been better off. But, hey, shit
Uh,
happens.
I will tell you what didn't happen under the Biden administration. There wasn't, I'll guarantee you, there's only one air traffic controller at Newark,
Yeah.
one to handle flights. I'll
Yeah.
guarantee you there was no collapsing air traffic controllers or communications. All of a sudden, it's old equipment. We don't know what to do. Well, they did.
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg did. It always ran. I didn't hear anything about that. And this is the thing. It's part of the plan. And again, Will's going conspiracy. No. See, the thing about you guys all have to understand, the people running the country are in a building called that has the name Heritage Foundation
Right.
in it. A lot of the members of the cabinet are Heritage Foundation members, and Trump is not running shit. They just handing him big pictures to sign,
Right.
and he's fine with it. And they let him do his grift. Too, I mean, no one said a goddamn thing about this, and I found out about this on a fucking TikTok video that he got $2 billion in crypto from Doha. $2 billion in crypto to a company that's run by his sons
Right.
and he's part of. That he's got why? And then the whole aircraft thing. The worst thing about the whole aircraft thing, the worst thing about that $400 million aircraft is that one, it's not a free aircraft because in order for it to be Air Force One, it's got to be outfitted, and that's going to
Yeah.
cost a lot of motherfucking money, our
They're already
money.
doing that. And they're
Yeah,
already
they're
doing it
already
on a
doing it.
plane.
And the thing about it is, you're not supposed to do that. It's in the fucking Constitution because they knew Our forefathers knew other countries were richer than us. If they can bribe someone, they can get favors, or
Right.
they can end up with bases here. Our forefathers were brilliant. They saw the future. They didn't see Donald Trump, but they saw
Right.
the future. But the point being is that's why it's explicit in the Constitution. There's no fucking amount of lawyering that's going to get around it other than that, fuck it, I'm going to take what he wants. And that's the thing. Donald Trump gets his golf trips. He gets his coffers filled every time he goes somewhere. We pay him and his hotels. He gets that money. He's got billions now, supposedly in crypto. He can do what he wants. He's actually affected the market. A lot of people got fucked over with that Trump coin. He shouldn't be involved in it. We know this. That's unethical, but fuck it, right? And he gets all these little toys and he gets treated like a king. And they will say, hey, Donald, we want to literally turn the mall to rip down the mall and put up a shopping center and a parking lot. What do you think? Yeah, here, sign here. Sign
I heard
here.
something. I heard something about the crypto thing that was a Trump crypto thing,
Mhm.
and he made a bunch of money off of it, of course. But I heard the average person who invested like $13,000 in those crypto coins, they're now worth $350. I hope you're
Yeah,
fucking happy. Hope you're
yeah.
happy for turning over all that money to Donald Trump because you ain't getting it back.
No one votes for their own interest. They don't see through the fog. I mean, farmers are the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't see through the fog, now you're screwed. All right. Um, Truck drivers, all you people, union members, and the only thing that they focused on is immigration, because that's
Right.
what an authoritarian government does. It finds a scapegoat to justify their actions,
Right.
which brings us to ICE, the things that they're doing to all soft targets. I haven't, I mean, the whole Worcester scene. Oh, okay. So the dangerous immigrant with a 60-year-old girl pushed to the ground. I thought she were all these gang members and all that, and they keep trying to sell us that we're at war with whom. There is no war. We are not at
No.
war with anyone. And what's their excuse? Someone brought that up when they're bringing up habeas corpus. And the first thing they said, yeah, that would be fine. We're at war because Joe Biden let all these people in. They keep blaming Joe Biden. We're trying to fix Joe Biden's economy. It's Joe Biden's fault that the planes aren't doing well. It's Joe Biden's fault because you can't you can't go to the bathroom. It's all what they do every fucking day. So when they get cornered, they blame the other administration that doesn't have anything to do with it. And
Yeah.
people buy it. And the mass media buys it. The mass media is just on a fucking propaganda tear. And
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
I
And
can't.
they're
I can't imagine how much disdain I have for mainstream media. They have been dropping the ball and putting this country in danger since Donald Trump announced he was going to be president. They saw it as a way to make money because of the shit show that follows him. And ever since then, they've been boosting him up, building him up. And of course, the oligarchs own the CNNs, MSNBCs.
yeah.
So they always cut him a break. This guy should have been put in his place in 2015, and we would have never seen him. He made a threat yesterday, or maybe it was today. He's upset about the Supreme Court not siding
Yeah.
with him on the Alien Enemies Act, which
Yeah, because
they
we're not at
shouldn't.
war.
Yeah,
I mean, even Brett Kavanaugh is like, no, doesn't make sense.
yeah. The vote was 7-2, and of course,
Gee, I wonder
Alito
what
and
two. Well, she wonder
Clarence
what two.
Thomas voted for
And
Donald Trump.
was it? Oh yeah, Alito, the crypt keeper himself.
Yeah, but did
Um,
you hear? Did you hear what Donald Trump said?
no, go
Uh,
ahead. Go ahead and enlighten us with his wonderful words.
well, he said. Let me just see if I can call it up here. Donald Trump has been lashing out at the Supreme Court since it handed him a loss on the issue of immigration on Saturday. He went as far to distribute a MAGA lawyer's plan to release terrorists near the homes of Supreme Court justices. Former GOP staffer Mike Davis has made headlines for his social media comments and was rumored to be on Trump's list for Attorney General. Recently, he posted a plan to get back at the Supreme Court justices for not ruling in line with MAGA. And there was some talk about some golf club that's out there that some of the Supreme
Yeah,
Court
that
justices
yeah,
frequent.
some yeah, DC club. It's
How do
ignorant.
how does the Supreme Court now feel that with Donald Trump threatening them as he has federal courts and local courts, how do they react to that?
I don't know because the Supreme Court is schizophrenic.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know we could see what's going on. You don't have to be a jurist to see that the insanity is going on.
yeah,
But they just keep playing some fine line that I don't understand. I mean, the Supreme FDR tried to get stuff to the Supreme Court and they stepped on it because he
yeah,
was overstepping his presidential powers in the time of a depression.
right.
They stopped a lot of his stuff, and FDR was upset too, but he didn't threaten him. He just said, "I'll just make it 9." I mean, he said that shit never went through. But the
Yeah,
point is, they stepped on FDR extending his executive privileges, but they won't step on Donald Trump. But the problem we have is that you have a Congress and a legislature branch that doesn't give a fuck. When they
right.
brought to ask Mike Johnson about the plane thing, oh, that's not our problem. That's him. Let him handle it because we're too busy with the budget. Hey, Mike, I thought you were a so-called constitutional lawyer.
Yeah,
Appropriations are your job in the Constitution. Money comes for you. Them cutting people at the federal level, the employees, is not constitutional because that has to come. That's appropriated money from the House already. And he did it anyway, and no one questioned it. Why?
yeah.
Because the Congress is in on it. These guys think they're still going to win. They really do.
They do.
It's
They do.
and it's tough because what are the hearings now? It's all a bunch of bullshit hearings. The budget went down not because they were afraid of cutting Medicaid. It's because some of the MAGA people want to eliminate everything. They don't
Yeah.
want people to have anything. They want to break it because that's what they need to break the government to say, see, the government doesn't work. Yeah, of course the government doesn't work because you broke it.
Well,
You broke it.
even if it does pass in the House, I don't think there's any chance of it passing in the
I don't
Senate.
know. The Senate, it just needs a majority because it'll be budget reconciliation.
Yeah.
And so Republicans are cowardly pieces of crap.
Well, that's
So,
true.
and some Democrats are cowardly pieces of crap. And that's the thing. I mean, until someone figures out in the Democratic Party, you need to be an opposition party, we're kind of fucked with them.
Well,
Um,
if it does pass, all holy hell is going to break out with those people who voted for it. And we need to, as people on social media, whoever votes for this bill needs to be exposed over and over and over again because when people are suffering and people don't have money, they need to have somebody to blame, and they will most certainly be the people to blame.
I mean, it's tough. The part of it is, and I was talking about this in the video because I was just kind of figuring the biggest thing we're dealing with what's happening in the United States, and this was what authoritarian governments start like, is a lack of empathy that everyone
Right.
has for everyone else's problems. Um, I, honestly, in the '60s, and all that whole, you know, all we need is love type of thing. I always thought, God, that is so fucking dumb. That's just saccharine. But and then as I sit here and realize it now, I get what John Lennon was trying to talk about. It wasn't just, love and love everyone. No, it's to care about your fellow person to understand what they're going through. It's called
Right.
empathy. They don't care. They don't care because it doesn't fit their narrative. Case in point, in Georgia, there is a woman in a hospital who
Right.
is brain dead. She was 9 weeks pregnant. She is forced on because of the heartbeat law in the state of Georgia. The state is forcing her parents at their expense
Yeah.
to keep her alive so the baby can come to term. Now they're lying about it because she has a smaller child. She had a smaller child, and they keep showing pictures of her pregnant. That's from the first pregnancy, you dumbasses. She
Right.
was barely pregnant. There is no viability with that fetus. Oh, well, they're keeping her alive. No, they're pushing air in her. The body is not functioning properly. When you're in that situation, that's not good. It's not going to do all the things you need to do in that child. It's not going to survive, honestly. But they don't care because they have the agenda.
Right.
They have what they need. And people going and people make fun of see, I'm weird when it comes to like nerd stuff. But and I haven't seen the show, but there's an episode of The Handmaid's Tale where they did that. The
Wow.
woman was brain dead, and now they consider her a holy vessel to put out children. But she's dead, basically dead. They don't care. They care if they care so much about children. Well, why don't you have gun laws to protect school shootings?
Yeah.
Why don't you have free lunch, health care for kids? I mean, why is the Trump administration allowing to put in devices that remove the trigger guards on
The
semi-automatic
bump stocks.
weapons?
They're the bump
No,
stocks.
not bump stocks. Even worse, because when you have a semi-automatic weapon that's not military, you can't go full auto. It's
Right.
a trigger restriction. So when you pull the trigger, it's one bullet at a time. It's rapid, but it's not. You have to pull the trigger
Pull it
every
each
time.
time.
Okay, this eliminates that. You pull
Wow.
the trigger and you can empty the clip, bang right beside in one shot, which is basically a machine gun. They're allowing that now to be done. What's the purpose of that?
Kill a lot of
Violence.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the purpose of it? And you're complaining about 8647?
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of empathy, the lack of connection, and it all is the same thing. You listen to evangelicals speak. There's nothing about God. It's all about Trump and power.
Right.
The Pope is getting shit from MAGA. Why? Because the Pope is literally Pope Leo the 14th is literally speaking to Christ's teachings about taking care of your fellow man and caring for everyone like the church is supposed to do, and that pisses you off. Yeah, I heard JD Vance is going to be at the 12th first mass this week today.
Yeah.
Um, God help us all. I mean, Pope Francis told him to go fuck himself. He sent a
Yeah.
cardinal and said, "I don't want to meet with you," and they got pressure for him to meet. And then what happened? He died the next day.
Right.
Um, fucking, you know, fucking schleprock is bad luck. And someone set out a poll saying that JD Vance is the favorite for the 28th nomination for Republican Party.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. That's fine. Whatever works for y'all. But it's like the lack of care for everyone is what we're dealing with. Because it's literally, I want mine. Fuck you. If I have to step on you to get it, great. And that's it. They don't care. And we're getting to the point where I think, if you don't have empathy, you don't care. The reason that all of us, you, me, and everyone, get angry or get upset is because we care. We have
Well, yeah.
empathy.
Well, any human being would care. It's just these fucking cyborg self self-righteous pieces of shit. They don't care as long as it benefits them and people like them. And
But
I don't. I'm not a theologian, but you're right. That's not what the Bible says.
no, that's not what Christ. But the thing about it is, I keep watching, and I don't watch, I don't get on the magazine TikTok because I don't want, no, God, no, I can't take that. But some
No, I
people
can't
do
either.
and watch. And a lot of them don't do what we do. They don't pontificate, they don't speak on the problem. They either, if they do speak, it's small, I love Trump, Trump did
Yeah.
this, or they
Yeah.
do some weird ass shit with music. It's all sad. Um,
Yeah. It's pretty. It's pretty
it's
weak.
pretty pathetic. Or you have someone like older millennium who just lies. It's
Yeah.
fucking straight lies. And people eat it up. But they don't care. And like we care and we want this to be resolved, but we don't have the wherewithal to do it because it's insane. Literally insane what is going on. I mean, if you want insane, let's bottom line insane. I thought this was a joke. A producer went to Kristi Noem and the Department of Homeland Security
Yeah.
and came up with a proposal. A TV show where 12 people compete to win citizenship in the United States. A competition for citizenship in the United States. And the first thing I thought of, because I just finished seeing the second season. That's Squid Games,
Yeah.
and or as some people going with Hunger Games.
Right.
But that's insane. Who would do that? So the first thing when that came out, they said no, that's all fake news. Now we're hearing they're in serious talks about doing this shit.
Absolutely.
There is next level shit going on. Who? What? And someone tell me how that's normal.
Well, it's
Someone
not
tell
normal.
me how that's normal. Someone tell me how that benefits us as a society and a people. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
at
heard that.
least
I thought it was a
go ahead.
joke too, and I thought it was a joke too, and then I thought, well, anything that comes out of the Trump administration, you got to believe because it's just been fucking crazy for 10 years. But that is about as low as a human
As
can
you
go at
and
this
the
point.
thing about it is, at least if you had Romans and gladiators, there was an honor system with gladiators.
Right.
I mean, that as a barbaric as it was, had some kind of honor to it. This is literally, and if you ever seen one, a Japanese game show.
Yeah.
If you ever seen a Japanese game show, they are wild. They are nuts. They're crazy. They're a good laugh. But you know what the ironic thing about a Japanese game show as opposed to American? There are no prizes. They just
There's
do
no
it for the
problem.
fun of it. There's no
Really.
money, there's nothing. They just do it for the fun of it. There's no rewards. The the um uh the actions are the rewards. And the point is that what who normal human being comes up with that? Who's the normal human being that does that? And that's the thing. We being run by literally inhuman people. They're
Well,
fucking
and
monsters.
the producers that are bringing it to Christy Nome at Botox Barbie are the people who created Duck Dynasty. Oh, big surprise. Those redneck motherfuckers.
But that was a reality show. That was just a bit. I
Yeah.
get that. I mean, that's a bit. I mean, what the hell? I mean, I can deal
But
with it. But
but don't you
damn,
don't you hold it against them a little bit for trying to capitalize on this bullshit? Don't Wouldn't you hopefully be a little more above that?
think about it, as they roll a big bucket of money to you, you do what you're gonna do. Money
Yeah.
makes the world go round. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. It's truth.
I guess.
I mean, and it's insane. And then the hypocrisy goes on. The Afrikaners that came here, the white Afrikaners, they
Right.
got everything that you were complaining about. They were giving true asylum seekers in the United States. Place to live, some money, a way to get through the system. And you complained about it as an invasion, but you brought these motherfuckers in to and gave them everything. And you know the worst thing about it? They're complaining because no one will speak English. They have to speak English all the time. They
Huh.
can't speak Afrikaner. You
Yeah.
spoiled motherfuckers. I mean, you see the hypocrisy of it and the racism of it.
Well,
There
it's
is no.
racism.
Go ahead.
It's
Sorry.
basic. What Donald Trump does too is, he'll do something fucked up, and then he'll do something to try to counter it to say, "See, I'm not fucked up. I brought in these people from South Africa." Regardless of if it looks racist or not, he thinks he's covering himself for sending all the brown people away. It doesn't work. People don't buy into it. But this is how dumb the motherfucker is.
And it's the money. The thing about it is, all these plans about removing. I mean, Steve Bannon was on his one of his tears the other day. 60 million people were going to this. Trump will run and win. Yeah, we're going to get rid of habeas corpus. My God, you know, I mean, my health is okay, but I'm 63, and I know
Uh,
I got to watch myself. How is that motherfucker still alive?
I
How
don't
is
know. He's
Trump
a
still
grease.
alive? Oh my God! I mean,
Steve's a
but
greasy looking motherfucker, and so is Donald
oh,
Trump.
oh,
We can only hope and
oh.
pray that they're right about that 86 term. Hold on a second. I think I accidentally muted you. Sir, what? Can you unmute yourself, or can I do that?
I did it. Can you hear me now?
Okay, we got you now. I
Yeah.
was
See.
fucking around.
Yeah. See.
Uh,
See. No.
uh,
It's just,
yeah,
yeah.
fucking
It's
NSA's in this.
yeah. But the thing about it is, we have to talk about something that these guys don't get it. This isn't about politics anymore. See, they keep thinking they're doing this at libtards. Every time something comes up, well, the Democrats this and the libtards that. When is the suspension of habeas corpus a liberal issue?
Yeah,
When is removing your rights for due process a liberal issue? Or will they're just going to do the immigrants? No, they're not. You pull the right of habeas corpus, it's for everyone.
yeah,
That means no due process. And if someone rolls up on you, they can do anything you want, including summary execution. And I saw there was a creator, I think it's Tom Powell, who's big, but
yeah,
he was stitching a guy talking about habeas corpus. And if it happens, man, you just have to go. You have to fight because the police roll up on you. You have no rights. Don't answer questions, and they come at you. You have to fight. But he was saying, yeah, what you did local police come up, you really don't want to go there because maybe they're asking questions. And I said, sir, I'm a pimple on your ass compared to all your followers. But there's no fucking way that when habeas corpus comes up and the police ask you a question, I'm going to say no. I'm not answering your questions. Get away from me because I know
yeah.
what's next. And you can't go without a fight. A lot of people have made the comment. A lot of people are thinking about it and probably doing it of getting weapons because you suspend habeas corpus. It's on. If someone rolls
Yeah.
up, you have nothing to lose.
No, you don't. You really have
And
nothing to lose.
death is preferable to bondage. Because if they throw you in a hole, you're done. You're done. No one will know where you're at. They don't care.
Now, Will, here's a new story that just came out.
Oh
Just came
God,
out
you're.
moments ago.
It is
And I'm
11:02
curious.
Eastern Standard Time on Saturday
Yeah,
evening. Go ahead.
right. Well, and this, I'm curious. This is going to blow up in a way for the Trumplefux. I guarantee you. This is what the story says. The story says at least 19 people were injured when a Mexican Navy training ship carrying 277 passengers struck the bottom of the Brooklyn Bridge in New York Saturday night, according to police and the Mexican Navy. Video shows the ship's mast hitting the underside of the bridge, breaking as the vessel passes through, with pieces falling down towards the deck. No visible damage can be seen on the bridge itself, which was open to traffic Saturday night after shuttering it briefly. Now, you don't think Donald Trump is going to try to make some hay out of that?
Jesus Christ! It's one of those sailing ships they use for the Navy, like we do for the Coast
Yeah,
Guard,
yeah,
and it was just an accident, right?
yeah. Of
Okay.
course, it was an accident, but
Yeah, he'll figure something out or make comments about the lack of skill of the Mexican Navy. He's probably going to say probably ban Mexican ships now in American waters. You watch. I mean, we can go on and on and on from a perfect just accident, just an accident. I mean, remember when the freighter brought down the bridge in Baltimore? What
yeah,
did they say? It was terrorism. It wasn't.
yeah,
It was a terrible accident. And then they blamed the Biden administration, who fixed it in less than a month.
Right.
If that happens during the Trump administration, that bridge is not coming. It's still 2 years later. There will be no port traffic in Baltimore. But yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be hilarious. It's going to be one of those distraction things. I would guarantee a Truth Social post soon. I hope everyone's okay. They probably rescued him. It's fine. But yeah, that'll be
But
fun.
could you see
Another
Donald
fun
Trump
day.
saying? Could you see Donald Trump come out and say, "Oh, Mexico's attacking us. We got to send troops in"? I could see him doing that.
On a training vessel that mass hit the Brooklyn Bridge, an unarmed wooden ship. That's a training
Yeah.
vessel. It's designed for them to learn how to sail, even though it's navies teach good navies, or especially Coast Guard. They teach their sailors basic sailing knots and all that because it does come in handy,
Yeah.
especially like for the Coast Guard. And so that makes sense. But see, that's the weird thing about that, Mike. You bring that out, and it's like, oh, what a terrible accident. Everyone's all right. But your thought isn't. After that is, well, what's going to happen now? How do
Right.
we live like this anymore? It's fucking exhausting.
I don't
It's
know.
just totally fucking exhausting to watch to every day. It's
There's
the
another
same.
story. There's another story out that should be surprising to a lot of people. Um, a lot of people trying to be protective of their credit score and all of that. And
Oh my
it's
God,
not
yes.
surprising that Donald Trump has a shitty credit score because he's filed bankruptcy 6 times. No bank
Mm.
in America will borrow him money. The only people that will do it is Deutsche Bank because they're running laundering Russian money through there. Uh,
Hmm.
but because of what Donald Trump is doing with tariffs and stuff, I'll just read this. Moody's has been a holdout in keeping U.S. sovereign debt at the highest credit rating possible. Um, and it's been going on since 1917, over
Hmm.
100 years. The decision to lower the United States credit profile would be expected at the margin to lift the yield that investors demand in order to buy Treasury bonds uh, to reflect more risk and could dampen sentiment toward our own U.S. assets, including stocks. So, in 117 years, our credit rating has been pretty solid as a country. Donald Trump's in for 4 months, and it drops for the first time from a triple A to an AA1.
And the other
That's
thing
going to be great.
that's not good. We know that that's going to affect interest rates and investment in the country. But the thing about remember this, and Trump's been picking fights with everyone, but the Japanese government has, I believe, $3 trillion of American bonds.
Yeah.
$3 trillion of American bonds. And the Japanese trade minister kind of made a veiled threat. We could dump these on the market. We could sell it all and see
That
what
would be
happens.
devastating.
Basically, they can call in. The thing about bonds, there is a provision to call in for a percentage of the debt owed. You have to
Yeah.
immediately make good the bond. Oh shit!
Yeah. That's going to be,
And the Trump administration all freaked out. Go, well, they're threatening us. Yeah, they're threatening you because you've been fucking around.
yeah.
And that was a polite way of the Japanese said, we don't want to find out because it's going to affect us. But you keep doing it, you will find out.
Yeah.
And see, we have no fucking leverage. And for the Treasury bond, people don't know how world economics work. They have conned you. You dumbasses, they have conned you. It is an interconnected world. I mean, I
Absolutely.
keep hearing about people talking about, yeah, we're going to oil production raise and everything is going to be great because in America we'll be all independent. You do know oil goes on an open market, international market, right?
Right. Right.
We
Exactly.
buy oil, refined oil back. It's never, we don't produce it exclusively for the United States. It goes into the market. They sell it. An oil person doesn't sell to American government. It sells to the international oil market. So what the fuck, people?
Yeah.
And you don't. They, the problem with economics, you take one, and I've taken macroeconomics. I follow it to an extent. I'm not an expert. I'm not hardcore economist. but I learned enough to know that everything they're doing makes no sense because they think in the sense that we're isolated and nothing affects anyone else.
Right.
Treasury bonds are huge. You have no idea that investing in the United States on bonds mean a lot. You guys have no fucking idea,
Well,
and it
and the thing
affects
is,
everything.
with these bonds, by dropping the interest or dropping the credit rating, we have to
Mhm.
pay more back in those bonds.
Yes,
Whatever the interest is, the interest goes up, and we got to pay them more. So we immediately lose money by that
that's
rating.
right. And it's just it's servicing that. And the thing about it is like that's where it comes to the falsehood of economics that have been sold by the Republican Party for decades, mostly
Right.
about the deficit. That is a lie. Okay. The deficit is a fucking lie in the sense of this way. It's not going to affect your parent future. We got to pay this. That's all bullshit. A working any company has a working deficit. That's
Right.
working money. You build on it. It's loans, and then it's part of your profit. A deficit is paid is kept at a certain level so you can function.
Right.
All right, you don't pay all your bills. It's just a complicated thing because it's complicated. But you got to have money coming in to kind of service the debt so it balances out. The problem is like with the new budget, there is none, and it puts $4 more trillion on that debt that we have to service, and that debt is useless. It's
Right.
useless because it's not doing anything for us. It's giving money to, if you have debt that pays for the projects like the infrastructure that Trump got rid of, it comes back to us in jobs, tax money, and benefits, especially like a port or commerce. That comes back to us as an investment in the United States through, and it costs money, raise the deficit, but when it comes back as income in tax money, that services the debt. That is a smart way to use debt. What they're doing is we're going to give $4 trillion in useless debt to a bunch of rich people who won't invest a fucking thing in the country, not a fucking thing. They're just going to pocket it, and then we have a service useless debt.
Yeah.
There's a
Well,
big difference on that.
I mean, it's like USAID, USAID, we don't want to feed people in poor people in countries, so we cut off USAID. But in turn, what we do is we destroy the farmers because the USAID folks, the recipients, end up buying for this country. So we're essentially subsidizing the farmers, but at the same time doing some good.
Right.
And they don't like that. They don't like that idea. I wanted to bring something else up because I know this is a big one for you. I know how
Right.
you feel about the progressives and the whole Gaza thing.
Jesus
We had
Christ.
we had
Let me
the
make this clear.
progressives.
Let me make this clear real quick, okay? What's
Yeah,
going on to the Palestinians is disgusting. I warned you guys. I fucking warned you that Trump get into office and let Netanyahu do it. They are going to treat them like the Turks treated the Armenians, and they are because they want to ship them to the Libyan desert to
yeah,
get to clear out Palestine. But
and
that
that's
being said, sorry.
well, that's what I was getting to here. First of all, the Israeli cabinet said that they wanted to occupy Gaza. And they'll tell you it's temporary and stuff. But the last
No
time
shit, no.
they did that for 10 years. And now this news story just came out a bit ago, maybe yesterday. The Trump administration is working on a plan to permanently relocate up to 1 million Palestinians from the Gaza Strip to Libya. 5 people with knowledge of the effort told NBC News. The plan is under serious enough consideration that the administration has discussed it with Libya's leadership. 2 people with direct knowledge of plans and former U.S. official have said this. So, to those progressives who didn't like what Joe Biden was doing, how you like us now?
Oh, even you know what's worse about that story, Mike? If you dig into it, we pay the Libyan government to do that.
Right,
We pay the Libyan government out of our tax money to do genocide.
right.
So the hey, so yeah, progressive, and they still they Reverend Warnock, Senator Warnock had a town hall meeting here in Atlanta, and two of these motherfucking progressive Palestinians start screaming about Gaza and you're a baby killer, about the
Yeah.
Democrats. They had them at AOC. You didn't learn a motherfucking thing. And it's disgusting because now they're coming out of the woodwork trying to blame Kamala Harris for everything now because
Yeah.
her message wasn't right. We didn't fight hard. I don't understand why we lost. We lost because you motherfuckers didn't get off your ass to vote. You voted for Jill Stein or Cornel West.
Or
You
nobody.
did not, or nobody, or you went with the baby killer bullshit. You did not help us. You harmed us. You treated us all like you basically thought you are no better than the motherfucking MAGA
Well,
because you want, and now you're asking people, why do we combine? No, I don't. I get it, white, black women only don't want to deal with you people because it's kind of hard to deal with people that stab you in the fucking back.
well, exactly. Exactly. And if you can call Joe and everybody the baby killers, but who are the baby killers now? The people that you
Yes,
allowed to get into office, and you're guilty as an accessory to the crime. That's the only way to look at it.
but they don't take responsibility for it. They think they did a good thing. A lot of them want the whole country to burn down to the ground because they're
Yeah.
fine. They're not going to be on. They're not going to be on square one. They're not going to be on the ground floor when the shit falls apart.
Yeah.
No, because the majority are, and let's be honest, rich white folk who haven't been accepted by the other side.
Right.
That's a blunt ass truth. And if you don't believe that, you're out of your mind. I mean, those are the things. Those are the ones that Reverend Al Sharpton called latte liberals
Right.
who talk shit. And that's the thing. Going back to what we're saying about the Democratic Party, they keep thinking like that. Stop it. You have to be a true opposition party. I mean, James Carville, all you old folks, stop it. I
Now
know
just
you
shut
made a
up.
lot of money. You've made money off us. And it's time for the rest of us to step up. I mean, David Hogg is bringing out the point. And the thing about it, if you do not watch it, you could still lose the midterms. You don't get it.
You're
You can lose the midterms
Yeah.
if you don't go into opposition. If you're going to try to sell to all of us that there's some way of compromise our way through this motherfucking shit, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
The only
Where,
way
where
is to win. I'm sorry, go ahead.
where do you think where do you think that puts us with the Democratic Party, though? I don't know that people are confident that the Democratic Party is on the right track to beat the Republicans. The Republicans may beat themselves, but we can't count on that either. You've got the establishment that are against David Hogg, and David Hogg comes in and says we got to get the do nothings out of here, even if they are a safe bet in their respective districts. And what I've said about the establishment are trying to be safe, but we're beyond the point of being safe. We were being safe in November 5th of 2024. We've got
Mhm.
to make some drastic changes here, and I know it hurts, and I know it frustrates a lot of people, but we've got to take some serious steps here. And maybe David Hogg doesn't really have a bad idea.
No, he doesn't have a bad idea. There has to be a reflection. And the reflection to the Democratic Party is not what we did wrong in 2024. You did nothing wrong in 2024. Kamala Harris did nothing wrong in 2024. Stop it. We have to change our message from 2024. Nope. Sorry. That's not it. What you need to do reflect on is that we are now an opposition party that must to go on the attack on everything they do, oppose it all, because every proposal they have is going to harm America. If
Yeah,
you think there's some I mean, going back to what Gavin Newsom said when he was asked about um, Abreu Garcia. Oh well, that's the Republicans have won that argument about immigration. What are you fucking talking about? It's not
yeah,
about immigration. It's about civil rights. See,
right.
that's the thing. I hear these fucking MAGAs and all these people talking about, well, it's a It's about the libtards and about liberals. No, it's about your rights. Your rights. You dumbasses. Your rights.
Well, and I
And,
said that I said that back when they overturned Roe v. Wade. I said to the people, I said, look, whether you're for abortion or against abortion, the idea that they're overturning Roe v. Wade should be a red flag to you. Because if they take away one right and they get away with it, they're going to do it again. And looky here. That's
looky
exactly
here.
what they're doing.
And the product of Roe v. Wade, and my wife, I was talking about what was going on with that woman who's literally an incubator here in
Right.
Atlanta. I said, my wife, well, the state, she goes, no, that's not the state. The federal. I go, no, it's a state law. No. She goes, as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, that's what happened. And she's right. She was
Yeah.
fucking right. Because that gave the
Right.
state the right to do what they're doing to that one woman and making the family pay for that. Which, I mean, that's literally that I can't even put my minds around it. But that's what happens when you take away rights.
Yeah.
And then like there's reports in Texas, they're talking about separate but equal again. You know
Oh,
what we call
Jesus
that?
Christ.
Us old people call that? You dumb fucks?
Segregation.
No, we call that, yeah, we call that Jim fucking Crow.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, these are the things that they do when you don't oppose them. These are the things that they convince you are good for your benefit, but it's not for your benefit. It's for very few people's benefit. See, the again, oh, you want to go back to history, hardcore history. The Civil War was fought for rich plantation owners to keep their way of life, fought by poor white folk.
Right. Right.
There, I mean, the
Exactly.
officers were rich men, but the soldiers were poor white folk, and they got nothing out of it but misery and death. Don't give
True.
me this shit about the cause. There was no cause other than to keep those guys in power and to make money. And by the way, the New Orleans plantation burning to the ground,
Yeah.
those of you who think that's a loss, I'm going, karma, finally. If you think that's a historical site about American history going up in flames and you're sad about it, to me, that's if Dachau burned to the ground. I'm fine with that one too. It's the same fucking thing.
You know, it's weird is that, we bought a place in Savannah, and I'm not going to say the name of the place, but in the name of the place, it's dot dot plantation.
Plantation. Hmm.
And it riles my wife and I up every time we go in there because I don't want to be living on a plantation.
Yeah.
It's not, of course, but it's still got that name and it's frustrating.
There's a historical site in Monroe County. There's a plantation in Monroe County that it's a big deal. I don't want to go see it
No,
um, because it's to sit there as a reminder of what that was. You can't put pearls on that pig, people.
no,
You
you
can
can't.
try. You can't do it. I mean, if you want to see a really interesting site, go down to Andersonville, the
Yeah,
POW camp
yeah,
for Union soldiers. That was basically the um, the forerunner to what they did to other people in the Holocaust. I mean, take a look at that.
yeah,
But see,
absolutely.
because where I live, I know that history is deep here. I mean, I know where I live in around Atlanta. Sherman was here before he burned
Right,
Atlanta. People died here for the Civil War. But again, like I said, the people who died, who fought the Civil War, were poor white folk. Now we forerun here. For poor white folk have been conned by the rich for literally a century and a half.
right.
You've been conned to keep voting against your best interest because it benefits your hate. You keep voting for Republicans who promise you nothing and take everything for you. Hey, Kentucky, how many times did you put Mitch McConnell in office? What did he do for you?
Yeah,
The word is nothing. Do you have any industry? Do you have any viable jobs. No, the only viable job you have is called disability and welfare and government assistance. Yeah, I'll fight you on it. Look at the stats. You know it's true. That's why with those, whenever there's a devastating weather thing, it hits you hard because there's nowhere to fix it.
Right.
There's nothing to come back and pull on. They have lied to you. And the ironic thing about that, Trump was talking about what the Chinese leaders have done, what American leaders have done. And he was saying that the Chinese leaders have done all this modern cities, transportation, and American leaders have not done anything. The problem with that is because people like your ilk convince taxpayers that it costs too much money to build high speed rail, to have support systems. You were lied to, thinking that people should pull everything one up by their bootstraps. You should, earn your way. You don't need welfare or food stamps. That's your problem. If not, starve. They have convinced you while you're taking the government dime that the other people taking the dime are in competition for you. Now it's coming to roost. This is a century and a half of poor white folk letting the rich rolling by their nose. And the people of color have been telling you, we know what they do because they do it to us, but you guys don't realize that. Hi, it's coming to roost soon. You don't get it.
No, they
So
don't get it. I was going to ask you
it's
about this too. We're getting closer to the end, but Donald Trump seemingly getting a little frustrated with the Russia-Ukraine war. He's really wanted to end that war mainly so he could get a Nobel Peace Prize. I'm convinced of that. But every time he goes to Vladimir Putin, he changes or he makes these ridiculous demands. And Donald Trump never understood what was going on when it first started. He thought that Ukraine and Zelensky were the enemies and they were Nazis and all that sort of stuff, which isn't true. So he talks to Zelensky, then he talks to Vladimir Putin. He can't get anywhere closer to getting some kind of ceasefire. Uh, and Donald Trump keeps getting pressure about it. So he said that Monday he's going to call Vladimir Putin and try to get this shit straightened out. Donald Trump's too dumb to get anything straightened out with Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin's going to keep doing what he's doing. He's doing the same thing that Netanyahu's doing. He needs to stay in power, so he needs the war to continue, regardless of how many people die.
yeah, and I mean we knew this was going to. I mean, for Trump, it's a game. It's
Right.
all game. It's all a game. It's a big game. It's a big reality show. Look what I did. And I want a picture. I wanted the Nobel Peace Prize because it looks cool. He has no idea what's behind that. He doesn't even know about quick history again, people. Who was Nobel? Do you know who Nobel was?
I
Who it's
don't.
named after? Nobel was the scientist who created dynamite.
Oh,
He was
that's
the
right.
one to figure out how to solidify nitroglycerin into a stable situation, so he created explosives, which led to death, destruction. So he put his money into to the Nobel prizes to try to make up
Right.
for his faults. That's why you have all the Nobel prizes in chemistry and medicine and all that with a prize. But that was the Nobel Peace Prize was his way of saying, "Hey, I know what I did was supposed to help construction, but it ended up being a war thing. This is what um, my my um, my contribution to humanity." So Donald Trump doesn't understand that. He thinks it's just a big, bright thing, shiny thing
Right.
that he wants, but he has no concept on it. It's just stopping the war is going to get you the Nobel Peace Prize. No, it won't. You won't even stop the war. It'd just be a ceasefire.
Right.
And the reason that Putin wants a ceasefire because he's still at the end of his rope. He thought that once Trump became into power and they cut off the pipeline for the United States, everything would be good. But he didn't expect that one of the lasting legacies of Joe Biden's presidency is a strong NATO.
Right.
And he probably had warned NATO this is going to happen, and NATO stepped up. Also, everyone in Europe hates Trump, so the fuck him is a great thing. They hate Putin, they hate Trump, so we're going to put money in. When the Germans are giving you weapons voluntarily, it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, when the French are saying we're in, hey, we might even bring troops in. Do you need troops? You know what's going on.
Yeah.
So there's no phone calls going to solve this, Donnie. The art of the deal is bullshit. You're all a big lie and a con. And the problem is, cons only last so long and they fall apart.
They do.
Hence, yeah, hence the uptick in authoritarian law enforcement, going after people speaking out, the pressing of going after soft targets immigrants, the idea of spreading fear, because that's the only way that you're going to prop up this failing government. Because it's a failing government. Eventually, it's going to fall apart. I mean, look who's running it. The incompetency of running it. The Secretary of Transportation has no fucking idea what he's doing. Kash
Yeah.
Patel is just not even running the FBI. They're all agents going, we have no idea what's going on. We don't know what's the priorities. Fuck, he wouldn't even come up with a budget because he's
No.
just thought because they all are. I've 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 come up with the term what all this is. This is lethal cosplay.
Yeah.
Now, my kids, my adult children, are big cosplay players. Next week is the MomoCon convention in Atlanta, huge comic book and anime convention, and people dress up in their favorite characters. It's a thing. It's a cool thing. It's you giving homage to things that make you happy. My
Right.
kids have been working on their costumes for weeks, but that's fun cosplay because
Right.
they're pretending to be fictional characters for a little while, and it's cool. What we're dealing with right now is Kristi Noem, Pete Hesketh, the idiot running the Secretary of Treasury, the two rich men running the Secretary and the Treasury Secretary, who just basically are there because it looks good on their resume. Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, all these folks are cosplayers. They got in there because it sounded good to be Secretary of Defense,
Right.
not with the responsibility that comes with it.
Doesn't that really put our
Sec-
country? Doesn't that put our country in a maybe the most vulnerable position we've ever been in? We
yes,
don't have national security. The FBI guy's a joke. The head of the DOD
yes.
is a joke. Homeland Security is a joke. I mean, how
Pam
long
Bondi
is it going to
is a
be?
joke.
Pam Bondi is a joke. The Attorney General. How long before something tragic happens, a la 9/11 or something like that? Because if you were going to do something like that, now would be the time.
Right. Well, the thing about it is like it's already happening now. It's lethal cosplay now. Like we talked about the Noah and all that. Um,
Yeah.
they got rid of that. That's under. I think Noah would be under. It's not transportation, not commerce. I want to say I don't. Oh, health and human services. There's another cosplay joke.
Right.
But um, those things are what's costing the United States. Those things are already little by little killing people. People
Natural
dying in her
disasters.
natural
Right.
disasters. Um, not dealing with the transportation thing. You want tragic? It's coming. It's coming, guys. I don't want to say this as oh Will's no. There's going to be a serious mid-air collision or on the ground collision that's going to cost a lot of lives. And you know the first thing those assholes are going to say? It's Joe Biden's fault.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
But
course.
but that's what's going to happen. It's
I,
lethal cosplay.
I don't know if
Um,
you heard. I don't know if you heard this story. We know what happened in Newark, where loss of communications
oh
for a
God,
period of
yes.
time, which was incredibly dangerous. But I heard it happened in another airport too. I think maybe Denver or something like that. For
It's
90
happening. At,
seconds.
yeah, Denver. There was a blackout also in Los Angeles.
Oh wow.
Um, and a lot of it because they're saying is the Secretary of Transportation, who's like the MTV guy,
Yeah.
They brought it up because everything's old, we have to buy parts from eBay. We can't upgrade it. Yeah, of course you can't upgrade it because you took everything apart before you even decided what we're going to do. Yeah, the systems needed upgrade, but why didn't they have systems upgrade? Because Republican Congresses would not appropriate money for FAA. Oh, by the
Right.
way, that upgrade was part of the infrastructure bill that
Right.
Trump killed. You see, that's the thing. It's all about performance and looking good, kinda. You're not good. You're all cosplayers. And what the thing about it is you're playing in your little offices, or like Christy Nome, you're dressing up like a cop, thinking that it matters. Or for Cash Patel, thinking he's J. Edgar Hoover, maybe he's wearing his old dresses that are
Yeah.
still in the FBI office.
Cute little
Um,
black dress.
is there a CIA director? Is there one? I don't think there is a CIA
I
director. I haven't heard.
I don't think so.
You've got Judge Deneen about to become a federal prosecutor. Alina Habba is a fucking federal prosecutor. They haven't
Yeah.
been approved, but they're still sitting there. It's all lethal fucking cosplay, and it's costing people's lives in either not doing your job, or in the case of the Department of Justice, arresting people you shouldn't, and seeing what happens, or calling for um, the suspension of habeas corpus.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's not just Trump. It's that all the people that were in government who serve. Again, the lie you were sold was that government was evil. To get a government job is, we make jokes about it. It's just, it's good enough for a government job. But the point is, the majority of government officials were really dedicated to what they're doing and serving the public. You guys don't get it. And I remember Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about, hey, they're getting, um, they're making money. They don't make money. They service us. We pay taxes for those services. Now, where's the tax money going? We know where it's going. Other people's
Yeah.
pockets. All this money being cut. Where is it?
Well, I will tell you
Where is it?
this. I read a story that said that with all this money supposedly being cut, in the first 100 days, this administration spent quite a bit more than was spent at the same period last year, like $166
Yeah.
billion. Yeah, I mean, it's not, there is no money being saved, but there is money being grifted by Donald Trump
Hmm.
and all the people around him. There's
Yeah.
no question, and it's coming out of us.
I mean, the makeup room for Pete Esquith.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, the point is, it's all performance. But everyone keeps going, and everyone's on the right is so happy. We're owning the libtards. If you guys are so happy, I'm going to ask you this question, MAGA, because I know you watch. Mike knows you watch. I mean,
Right.
you might make comments, but we laugh at you and then block you.
Yeah.
If I literally could piss on a comment, I would, for some of you guys. But that being
Yeah.
said,
Absolutely.
um, are you really happy? Because you guys seem fucking miserable.
I
You
do
always
feel
seem mad and angry and looking for a fight. I thought
you
this was
won.
the world you wanted.
Yeah. You won,
Uh,
bitch.
I mean, what do you want? We have a right to complain about it because you always bitched and complained. I mean, we don't have to accept this bullshit. You didn't. You got your
Yeah.
world. Why are you all pissed off? Why are you pissed off every time we call you out? Why? I mean, I just saw a great TikTok video, Good Trouble. He was on a live because there was one creator who keeps bringing on MAGA people trying to bridge the gap. They
Yeah.
have one guy in there, and this guy brought receipts of this man putting a gorilla face on his face on him and doing a bit about, basically, he went all in on what that meant. And he got burned, and he kept trying to defend himself. And all the people in the live didn't even call him out, which pisses me off.
Yeah.
You should have called him out, because I'll give you an example, because Will's a movie guy. Here's the biggest example of that. why I saw that and said, and I thought of this scene. The movie Soldier. Oh God, with Tree Rollins in it. About the World War I soldiers coming back. Oh God, I hate when I do that. It's a movie about that. They had the sergeant. It was about a murder. God, it's going to come to me. It was about a murder. Someone had murdered someone, and the person was investigated. It was a black officer, and there's a part with one of the suspects. A sergeant was talking about. He's a black sergeant, and this was during just for World War II. Um, he was a veteran of World War One, and he said, and he was just telling the story of they got one of the poor. They had gone to France, they got to Paris, and they were going to go out there and just have fun because in Paris, because they're all most of them in segregation and Jim Crow, they'll be free in Paris to date whoever they want, drink whoever they want, with whoever they want. But what the white soldiers did is they got a very dumb black soldier to dress up in a monkey suit and dance around in front of a cafe and
Oh,
said,
wow.
call himself King of the Monkeys and all that. And he's telling this story, and he goes, we watched that, and later on that night, that poor guy didn't even understand why we were his throat because what happened was that none of the women or the French people want anything with us.
Yeah.
And when I saw that guy's piece, I thought of that monologue because it's the truth. And this is what we're getting to. If you have any compunction thinking that dealing with MAGA or reaching across and saying that they're helpful, that we can make peace, you're out of your goddamn minds.
Now
They are
you
too
can't.
far gone because they're not happy people. Even when they get what they want, it's never fucking enough.
You can't compromise with evil. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, you can't, and that's the thing. So to the Democrats party, there's your theme. You can't compromise with evil.
It's just
Live
not
it.
possible. It's just
Run
not
on it.
possible.
Because if you don't, then you're done. You're finished
Absolutely.
as a party.
Well,
So that
we
was
are at the
happy.
end. We are, yeah, happy again. We're at the end of the Rational Boomer podcast. Will, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I learn a lot every time I have you on, and that's why I like to have you on frequently. So thank you
Okay,
for
I
taking the
appreciate you.
time today. For those of you listening, thank you for taking the time. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.